I'm Joaquin, your host, and this is the Football Corner reporting on the 2026 World Cup. Today, I'll be giving you a recap of the 19th matchday of this World Cup. The first game that we had was Brazil versus Japan, where thankfully Brazil won, but it was quite close. Japan's style reminded me a lot of Croatia's style in 2022, where they defended very compactly the whole game, making it very difficult for Brazil. But the one mistake that we made, they made sure to punish it, which is exactly what both Croatia did in 2022 and Japan did this year in 2026. But the difference is that now we have Carlo Ancelotti instead of Chichi as our head coach, and he administered the situation quite well, putting on some great subs and making some good choices. Everybody thought that putting on Martinelli and keeping Casemiro on the field weren't good choices, but then Casemiro scored our first goal and Martinelli scored the winner in stoppage time to make sure that we won the game. Oh, and by the way, Martinelli's goal is the latest World Cup knockout winner ever, excluding extra time. He scored exactly on the dot of the 95th minute. For in this game, Brazil did quite well to adapt to the situation because they saw how we weren't going to be able to play through the middle since Japan were doing so well of being disciplined and keeping a good low block. So we put in lots of crosses, knowing that we have a little bit of a height advantage, which ended up working, especially with Casemiro. Not only did he score, but he also had an attempt cleared off the line. And for Japan, they did very well defending Vini with two or three players at once. But that meant that they left more space for players like Ryan and Bruno Guimarães and eventually Martinelli, which is how we scored both of our goals. The good thing about our team is that if you focus too much on Vini, although he is our best player by far, we still have some other good players, and they can really punish you if they have too much space, which is exactly what Martinelli did. And by the way, that pass from Bruno Guimarães was excellent, but the finish was even better. It's so hard to shoot with the ball under your feet like that, especially in a high pressure situation in the 95th minute. But that goal only happened because Ao Tanaka from Japan made a mistake trying to play out the back. That was honestly Japan's only mistake on defense, trying to play out from the back and giving Brazil second chances. Sometimes they tried to be too neat with it and they tried to not clear it and build up. But in the second half, they weren't able to do that at all because our pressure suffocated them. And when they tried to do that, we just put more pressure on them and eventually scored with Martinelli. So in the end, Japan did play quite well, but this was quite a deserved result for Brazil. The second game that we had was Paraguay versus Germany, which ended in a surprising win for Paraguay on penalties. The game ended 1-1, but Paraguay won the game 4-3 on penalties. In this game, Paraguay played the game in a manner that you would see in the Copa Libertadores. A team with such resilience, such passion, and such grit, defending for the whole game, keeping a very good low block and making it so hard for the opponent, but struggling to attack at the same time. Other than Enciso and Almiron, Paraguay didn't have their strikers doing well with the hold-up play, so they barely had any attacking options. Their biggest chances came from when they were able to win some set pieces in the attack because then their center backs could move up for crosses, and that's when they scored. They had an excellent cross, and Enciso was able to head it in. That's where Germany fell into Paraguay's plan. Maybe if Paraguay hadn't scored and they had just kept the low block for the whole game, Germany would eventually break it like they did with the Kai Havertz goal. But since Paraguay scored, they had an extra buffer and that put even more pressure on Germany, which wasn't good for them. And on the topic of Germany, they were just so uncreative this game. Both of their number 10s, Musiala and Wirtz, were not only average compared to the other players dribbling wise, but also passing wise. They barely created anything and they seemed quite frustrated. Especially Musiala because he committed a bad foul on Galarza at the end because Galarza was defending him so well. That's not a point that I want to talk about. Paraguay seemed like the team that was more ready for this game. When Germany committed hard fouls on them, they didn't stay on the ground crying. They got up and started playing again. But when the Paraguayans came even close to touching the German players, they were always trying to win a foul and going on the ground, and they were complaining to the referee the whole game. And lots of Germans and lots of other people who aren't actually from Germany were saying that Germany's goal shouldn't have been disallowed, but it was quite clear that it should have. You can't just do a basketball like screen on the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper cannot be blocked from taking action in the corner kick. Although Arsenal has done this and come and gotten away with it several times in the Premier League, this is the World Cup and this is basically the tournament where the official rulebook is used. Maybe the referees in the Premier League interpret it a bit differently, but from my perspective and the perspective of the rules that were set by FIFA, that goal should definitely have been disallowed. In the end, Paraguay were the more clutch team, especially in the penalty shootout. Even though they had two chances that they squandered to win it, they ended up holding their nerve and taking it at the end. And another thing that I want to add about Germany is that their players weren't up to it at all on the penalty shootout. Kimmich, the captain, asked four players, Malik Chaw, Nathaniel Brown, Goretzka, and others, if they want to take a penalty, and they said no. And in the end, the one who stepped up to take a penalty was Jonathan Tah, the center back who had never taken a penalty in an official game. He ended up skying it, but I actually respect him a lot because it takes courage to step up to the penalty spot when other players aren't willing to do so. In the end, Paraguay completely deserved this victory, and they showed exactly why they should be in the round of 16. In the last game of this match day, Morocco beat the Netherlands on penalties after a 1-1 draw in normal and extra time. In this game, very similar to Germany's game, Ronald Koeman, the Netherlands' former manager now because he just resigned, is at fault. Because before they were playing such a fluid style of play, which was more attacking, but then during the game he tried to switch it to a completely defensive aspect and tactic, which is okay if you're doing that for a few minutes, but he did that for over 45 minutes in the game. That's basically giving up and allowing the other team to just press and attack for the whole game while you just sit back and hope they don't score. This is similar to what he did at the end of the game against Japan, and look what happened then. They conceded the equalizer. The same thing happened in this game, and from a marking failure from Van Dijk, Issa Diop was left free in the box and headed in Morocco's equalizer in the 91st minute of normal time. Again, the Netherlands fell short in the World Cup. They do have great players and they do have skill, but they always lack something to move on. Ronald Koeman, during the whole extra time, the Netherlands weren't even trying to attack. They were just desperately defending themselves and trying to get to the penalty shootout. And kudos to them, they did get to the penalty shootout. But when they got there, what did they do? They missed 3 penalties. If your strategy is to get to the penalty shootout, you can't be this bad at penalties. Like, come on. And even if they didn't try, even if this wasn't their original game plan and it was something improvised, they still should be better at taking penalties. It's unacceptable to miss 3 penalties in a penalty shootout in a World Cup knockout game. But for Morocco, they were pretty lucky that the Netherlands weren't playing well this game. Because if they were playing against a better team that were in a better phase and had a better game, they would definitely have been punished for missing so many chances. Because Morocco were the better team in this game. They used their pace so well on the wings and they crossed the ball in well. But not only did they hit the post, hit the crossbar, and failed to capitalize on some easy chances several times during normal and extra time, they missed 2 penalties, which actually should have been 3 missed penalties if Verbruggen, the Netherlands goalkeeper, hadn't gotten really unlucky with the ball squirming through his hands. Although Morocco won this game, it's still a wake-up call for them because I know that they can play much better than this. Especially Saibari, he did so well in the past few games, but he seemed kind of gone in this game. I think it was probably because of the Netherlands' physical defense. Maybe Saibari wasn't ready to play against Van Hecke because Van Hecke is one of the toughest defenders to play against in the world. He makes it extremely hard for the striker. But at least Saibari showed something that the Netherlands didn't show in the end, being clutch, because he was so cold on the last penalty and he sent Verbruggen the wrong way and sent Morocco to the round of 16. In the end, Morocco seemed like they'll be causing problems to many other European teams, just like they did in the 2022 World Cup. So France better watch out. So that's it for today. Do you guys think that Canada has a chance to upset Morocco in the round of 16? Or do you think that Morocco will have an easy win? Drop what you think down below in the comments. Ciao!